Welcome back to Americade, everybody. Today we are on the Indian 2024 Springfield Dark Horse. This is one of Indian's most popular bikes because it still has that throwback to the classic Indian look. No windshield, no fairing in front of us, no infotainment system, just raw, unadulterated ride, but with the added conveniences and comforts of a bagger. So let's get right to it and start off with comfort. If a bike is not comfortable, you will not want to ride it. Out of the gate, I do have some comments on comfort that I am not used to making on an Indian. This bike is not very comfortable for me as far as the riding position is concerned. These bars are very short. I've ridden a Springfield before that must have had longer bars with more pullback or something. But the way these bars are set up, I am just leaning far forward to reach for them here. It's not very comfortable, but Indian has all kinds of different bar options, so you could change that. I'm a bit curious as to why the shorter bars versus the one I rode last year. But as it stands right now, these shorter bars are just a little uncomfortable because I have to lean forward. Now that might be helpful when we get out on the highway here, we'll see. As far as the seating position and the seat itself and like the floorboards, the seat is very cushy, very comfortable, but for how long? All those kinds of seats start to compress after a while, so you want more support in the long run. It is set up for 2-up from the factory, so you got pegs and the floorboards nice and wide. My feet don't hang off the side like they do on some of the Harley floorboards. So overall, that is very comfortable. It's just the matter of these shorter bars. So for comfort, I'm going to give this bike an 8 out of 10 with an asterisk, and I'm only docking like a point or 2 points there because of the position of these bars. And yeah, that could just be the way this particular bike is set up. Now let's talk about power. This is the Indian Thunderstroke 116. I'm getting a lot of wind to the face out here. I just came from the Challenger and the Pursuit, so I had the nice windshield in front of me. Now I'm riding this and just taking it raw to the face, full blast. Plenty of great power in the Thunderstroke 116. The Thunderstroke 116 is the current air-cooled engine from Indian. I have a Thunderstroke 111. The 116 produces 126 foot-pounds of torque. My 111 only produces 120. Still plenty for me. I'm good where I am. But the 126 foot-pounds of torque, man, this thing takes off in sport mode. It is awesome. Now, you also have some other features with this bike. You have different touring modes, or ride modes, rather. You've got standard, you have tour, which is kind of like rain mode, and then you have sport. We were in sport for that pull, and that's honestly where I would leave it most of the time. I would go to tour if it was raining or I needed extra, traction, or I didn't want to have the abrupt acceleration. So in addition to those riding modes, the 116 engine also has a rear cylinder deactivation. If you're not familiar with that, when you come to a stop at a red light or in stop and go traffic, the rear cylinder will stop moving. It will save you on gas, and it will also help keep the engine just a little bit cooler in stop and go traffic. Now, you do have oil coolers on these bikes, so they don't overheat, but it's just an additional thing to keep the bike even cooler for you. Now, if you're not a fan of the rear cylinder deactivation for whatever reason, Indian did not make it, that's the rule and you have to have it. No, you can turn it on and off on your bike. It's a setting. It's not something you're locked into. Don't worry if that's not your thing. Don't know where those people are going, but we're going this way. We're going to pull over up here, give you guys a quick walk around of this beautiful Indian Springfield Dark Horse. All right, the Indian Springfield Dark Horse, 116 cubic inch Thunderstroke engine, award-winning engine. Beautiful gloss black primary cover, floating disc brake up front, dual floating disc brakes rather. ABS, Indians have ABS on pretty much all touring bikes and baggers, standard. I think only certain Scouts lack it now, and it's an option on all of them. Beautiful blacked out engine, set up as 2-up from the factory with passenger pegs. Those can be upgraded to floorboards from Indian as well. You've got the Rogue seat, has a slot for a rider backrest. Not my favorite seat in the world. It's okay. Just not the best. Indian makes better seats. The heated seat and the cooled seat as well on like the Roadmaster and the Pursuit, that's a really cool seat. No pun intended. Great storage options in the back. I like the closeouts. They don't have that on my older Chieftain, but I like what they do with these closeouts between the fender, the frame, and the saddlebags. It cleans it up, makes it look really nice. I love the blacked out everything. Just the Dark Horse package is so clean. That's it. Storage, seat, no infotainment system, nothing complicated, nothing complex. For our gauge up here, we do have a few things. I'll cycle through it. So for your digital gauge, you do have odometer, trip A, trip B, digital RPM, voltage for battery, ambient air temperature 75, miles per gallon, you know, what you're averaging, your current fuel range. You have a digital fuel gauge there as well. Back to odometer. Now if we go with the right toggle over here on the right handlebar, you've got front tire PSI, rear tire PSI, ride modes. I told you about those. We're currently in sport. Cylinder deactivation, you can change that. And then we're back to the front PSI. That's it. Pretty simple. In addition to the digital fuel gauge, you got an analog one up here. You have cruise control. That's standard across Indian's bagger and touring lineup. Plug for heated gear. That's it. None of that fancy infotainment center stuff, just you and the wind and the road. All right, let's take her through the twisties and see how she handles. Should be fairly similar to my old Indian Chief before the Chief redesign. Handling, it handles pretty well. It's not the most nimble and quick of all handling when it comes to the Indian lineup. That top honor would have to go to the Indian Challenger and the Indian Pursuit. That is just the best handling bikes I've ever ridden. They're amazing. Other than a sport bike, you know, when we're talking about cruisers and touring, those two bikes are the top. The Chieftains and the Roadmasters would come after, and this would be a solid third. This Springfield along with the new Sport Chiefs, that sort of thing. I like the way the Springfield handles. These shorter bars make the handling a little different for me. I like it. It's a little sportier. It might not be the most comfortable for long rides, but I think it lends itself to a sportier handling, to be honest. Let's talk about how nimble it is and flickability between lane position, left, center, right, if there's a pothole or something. So if we need to dodge to the center position, back over to the left, it's not as quick. It's just not. And it's not as nimble as the Challenger and the Pursuit, or even the Chieftain and the Roadmaster, but it's still good. It's still right behind them. For handling, I'll give it a solid, let's give it a solid 7 out of 10. 6.5 to 7 out of 10. I feel like that's pretty good for what is supposed to be a low and slow cruiser. Might not be slow on the highway, but the Springfield is made for cruising. It's got the classic look. You're there for style. You're there for sex appeal. You're there to just, you know, be mean and loud and have a badass looking, heritage looking bike. So let's talk about that look. Let's roll from the handling right on into looks here. And yeah, the looks of this bike, it's one of the few bikes remaining in Indian's lineup that has the classic look. When Indian came back from the dead, when they were resurrected, and they came back to be the mighty challenger to Harley that they are now, they went back to their looks from the 50s and 60s Streamliner freight trains. That lended itself to the look of the front nacelles on the Springfields, and at the time, the Chiefs, like my original Chief from 2015, and the Chieftain and Roadmaster Classic look with the 3-light headlamp setup. Now, the more modern Chieftains and the more modern Roadmaster have moved to a single lamp setup. They tried to copy kind of what Harley was doing, which I'm not a fan of. But the Springfield kept the classic look, as did the Roadmaster Classic. So if you're looking for that vintage look in Indian's lineup, those are your two options, really. And it does look so badass and so good. It's a spectacular looking bike, in my opinion. With that being said, I think we've covered everything. Power, comfort, walk around, and style. Without a whole infotainment and digital system to talk about, you know, these reviews, they go pretty quick. It's a motorcycle. It's a raw motorcycle. I feel like we get so distracted with all this digital stuff in front on the touring machines nowadays. It's part of why I love coming to Americade. I get to ride bikes without all the digital stuff sometimes and just enjoy the ride and film for you guys with nothing distracting in front, and it's so cool. Oh, that 116, she just purrs. Sounds so good. So good. All right, we're gonna wrap this video up here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new here and you feel I've earned it, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you to all my current subscribers who have returned to watch my videos. Click the bell icon next to it. You'll get notifications when there are new videos here on Motoblade. I have so many test rides I have filmed for you guys at Americade. It's going to take a while to edit them and get them all up. So just keep that bell icon checked, and you'll be notified when they're all ready for you guys. We've got Indian, we've got Harley, we've got Honda. Might even be a few extra surprise videos in there for you guys. I've got a few leads up my sleeve, so we'll see. If you guys have any questions about anything, please let me know down in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. I own an Indian, I own a Harley. American cruisers are my thing, so if there's any questions you guys have that I can help you with, please let me know down below. I'll do my best to answer all your questions. That's going to do it from Americade 2024. This has been the 2024 Indian Springfield Dark Horse. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, y'all know what to do. Be careful, ride safe, ride on. I'll catch you on my next video. Deuces.